Last time on New Hope, Goten finally emerged from the Room of Spirit and Time, and without a moment to spare, he quickly sped off to join Krillin in the battle, though not before being stopped by Korendorf from the final Senzu being on Earth. As a Saiyan child caught Cell by surprise and healed his mentor back to full health, he now stands face to face with a monster who caused his entire life to be turned sideways before he was even born.
This is part 4 of Dragon Ball New Hope Full Color Edition. Support the author and catch up fully using the links below.
Figuring it's time to do this, Goten is ready to get serious. At last getting to let loose in his Super Saiyan form, a state that Krillin would only very seldomly let him train in. Not only does this reveal unprecedented power ever before seen in the boy, it also changes his hair and frames his face to radiate a very particular look. Cell realizes the impossibility of the situation. This kid, he looks exactly like him! Krillin can't believe he's been able to take himself this far. Even if he had 2 years in the time chamber, he was all alone and he's only a child. He might be Goku's kid, but this is crazy. He's on par with... No, he's even stronger than Cell. As the two face off, our Saiyan hero feels pretty good about himself. As Cell takes in these developments, as everything this kid claimed before is made all too apparent. Those war and empty threats he was just spewing at him moments ago, getting flashbacks to not only Goku, but young Gohan. The villain realizes that this child too is really powerful. At this rate, and if this isn't even the max of what he's fully capable of, if Krillin were to jump in, this fight could become very problematic. Our villain returns to his cold, calculated nature. He lets it be known that he didn't know that after Gohan, their dear departed Goku went on and produced another begotten offspring. Whether dead or among the living, he still finds ways to get on his every last nerve. Nonetheless, it's quite the unexpected gift. A gift from destiny. It'll be a great pleasure to eradicate the last of the Sun bloodline. He mockingly quips that it saddens him to know that he's grown up without his father or brother, even if they were hopeless fools, deluded by the idea of standing a chance before him. But Goten needs not worry about any of that. He'll be meeting them soon in Otherworld. But before, he's going to make him feel pure terror itself. Proving to still be hiding a significant chunk of his true power. According to the notes of this chapter, Cell has increased his strength around another 50% when compared to when he was fighting Krillin. Could Goten really be enough to actually stand up against someone like this? A preview to our answer isn't long to reveal itself. The boy himself appears completely shook at this recent surge, mirroring the idea that he jumped into a battle this serious far before he is mature enough to do so. The biological android cackles out as confidently as he ever has before. While it was cute that the two of them thought they actually stood a chance against perfection personified, it was all a pipe dream. Or actually, a fever dream is more like it, and judging by the look on the child's face, he feels the same. Cursing himself, Krillin had a feeling this entire time that he wasn't going all out, but he wasn't expecting such an intense increase. It looks like his own fight against the Fiend may have been more of a lost cause than he even realized. This is really bad. If anything, they're going to have to team up after all, and even get a little creative if they want to have a shot here. As Goten tries to continue to process everything that's going on, he doesn't appear certain about his strength at all anymore. The invader taunts him, asking with a slight pause if he's shaking. Is this what it took him to finally understand? Even something as mighty as a Super Saiyan can do nothing against him. He told this banal runt before, he is the perfect being. He has complete domination of the universe. Though he should be proud. No one in his 13 years of life has ever made him exert his full strength. With no other choice, Krillin doubles back to restate that if he wasn't before, he is much too strong to fight alone now. They have to work together. It's the only way they even have a chance in saving everyone. Though Goten is just as defiant as before, barking there's no way he's willing to team up for this. Causing our other hero to turn white in the face. Feeling a breeze of panic shoot up his back, he thinks to himself that this is insane. He has no chance of winning alone. All he's going to do is throw his life away. The boy turns back to face his opponent. uttering that he guesses it'll just be a little more complicated than he thought before. In all honesty, he didn't think he was going to be this strong, but his resolve remains intact. He's going to finish Cell right here and now, alone. He recommends that his mentor back off a little ways. This is going to get rough. Who, albeit a little sheepishly, does so without further complaint. Cell chortles at what he calls the recklessness of youth, flinging himself headfirst into a battle he's completely blind to the realities of. Or maybe the child is just losing his mind. Just like his big brother could be seen deliriously talking to himself right before being obliterated from reality. When of course we know he is speaking to Goku, who is in Otherworld. But at last, Goten snaps and hisses for Cell to shut his mouth. The time has come for him to pay for all the horrible things he's done, all of the innocent people he's murdered, and all the lives he's ruined. This creature's entire existence has been about causing nothing short of suffering and destruction, all throughout the universe. And here, nearly every single person on this planet still carries the memory of him tormenting them, like it were a game. A memory the young Saiyan himself doesn't have. He bellows that he is Son Goten, protector of humanity, and he's going to crush him with his full power.
What's this?
As Goten gives it his all and furiously powers up again. Krillin, for the third time in the last 5 minutes, is completely bewildered by the energy and blunt power emanating right in front of him. And as the dust clears, and an eerie, deafening silence fills the battlefield, where only settling debris can be heard, Goten growls, "Oh, is that fear I see in your eyes, Cell?" Our young hero stunningly unveils the form that once caused so much deep, internal fear within Cell, the same the Saiyan's own brother tapped into. But unlike him, Goten has actually had plenty of time to get used to its overwhelming, fierce nature. Smirking with a slight demeanor, he informs his foe that he's feeling that for the second time in Cell's miserable existence, his so-called perfection has been overtaken. But this time, he can only hope that his pitiful pride will allow him to fight with some honor for a change, without some pathetic self-destruction attempt. For the perfect being, he sure has a lot of flaws to work on. Getting caught with that stupid look on his face yet again, Cell's dumbfounded. How? How is this possible? This must be some kind of sick prank the universe is pulling on him. He thought only Gohan could use that power-up. And like the instant transmission, Cell's perfect body was able to absorb and learn it, almost effortlessly. The biodroid knows in his heart of hearts that he has never been so powerful as he is today, at this very moment. Yet, like his cursed brother before him, this Goten dares to defy his perfection. He won't accept it! Krillin is somehow even more distraught than their adversary. He did it. He's reached the same level as Gohan did when Cell initially attacked, when they were at their highest hope of beating this guy. Goten has managed to surpass Super Saiyan. He's a genius! While a short stare-down ensues, the villain tries his best to brush off this most recent bit of bad news, letting out a chuckle, even if maybe a nervous one. He admits Goten can color him impressed. There is no denying that his raw power exceeds his own. They can both sense it, so he just wants to put that on the table for everyone to see. But he dare not think even for the blink of an eye this means anything. The boy's lack of experience hinders his critical thinking, and if he believes a slight advantage will be enough to beat him, he's even more stupid than his brother. Gohan also possessed superior power, but where is he now? As cold as he can muster, Goten presses forward towards his adversary and utters, "He won't be as sloppy as him." though firing off as impressive of a key barrage as anyone. Perhaps the most impressive there has ever been given the history of its ineffectiveness. Krillin worriedly scolds Goten that he has to destroy Cell, not the planet. That's the thing they're trying to protect. Who actually agrees. He did get a little carried away. But one thing's for sure, there's no way he's coming out of that unscathed. He might not be dead, but he knows it had to have at least hurt a whole heck of a lot. Sure enough, he's right. Cell not only appears to be bruised and battle-worn, but also very nettled at what's happening. Getting this view firsthand, Goten can't help but smile at his work, remarking he knew it, before taunting the villain by asking what's wrong. Is he suddenly feeling under the weather? Perhaps he has a stomachache and they need to reschedule this. Zooming in, it becomes clear that the Fiend is more than just a little nettled. He's furious. He screams that this runt's going to pay for this. He's dead! Raising his hand, Krillin should know this attack better than anyone, save maybe Vegeta. He shouts for Goten to look out. That's one of Frieza's techniques.
Take this! That'll teach him.
While their attacks echo and rumble through the entirety of the planet. And the likes of Kami's Lookout. Even though he's seen some of the most incredible battles of all time, this one really takes the cake. It's like every blow shakes the whole planet, like they're in an ocean and the entire Earth is a tiny boat.
You scum!
With the battle beginning to even out. Albeit with Cell getting the most recent effective hit in. As his foe touches down, Goten cheerfully walks towards him. With elation in his voice, he announces that Cell is beginning to slow down, and his punches are weakening. This'll be over soon enough, so the big bad monster shouldn't worry. He'll be done playing with them soon. Strangely, and bleeding at the mouth, Cell returns a smile and is ready to fully admit Goten is apparently the strongest warrior in the universe. Although, to repeat himself, the boy will not win this fight. Getting back to his sadistic mind games, the villain remembers back to when he killed Gohan, just before he disintegrated into ashes, becoming no more recognizable than the dust on the desert floor. The final word he yelled was Dad. He's curious who Goten will call out to before he dies. Perhaps Mom, or maybe even Krillin. It'll be so fun to find out. Showing one of the first signs of genuine respect for his fallen family, this causes a fury to build up within the orphaned boy. He screeches out to Cell that he's going to kill him. Cell quickly comes to regret his most recent insult, picking himself from the dry dirt and carrying a little less weight than he did a couple seconds ago. The bio-android uncontrollably trembles, trying to set himself back right. Unlucky for us, we already know it takes more than a hole in the chest to put him down for long. Regenerating his torso, and maybe a couple organs, the monster plops onto the ground, doing what he can to catch his breath. Goten snarls that he himself may have lost a lot of energy, but it's nothing compared to him. He might have been able to heal that wound of his, but he can't even stand up anymore. Prompting Krillin to urge him to end it now. They can't allow him to regenerate to full power like when he himself fought him. If they do, it'll basically be throwing him a senzu bean. Taking heed of Krillin's words, the Saiyan reaches out and extends one arm in front of himself. He announces to his foe that this was fun and all, but it's time for goodbyes. Even if now he's too tired to use his full power, regular Super Saiyan should do just fine for a task like this. Still hunched over, Cell offers a rare compliment. He tells his opponent that his master may have not been the best in combat, but he is a fine tactician. And he's right. Now is the perfect time to deliver the final blow and kill him. It is true that his last generation weakened him considerably. Although, he wishes only to be allowed to rectify one thing. He still has enough energy to regenerate one last time to full power. The monster laughs in triumph as our heroes stand by in shock. Left only to wonder how things have gotten to where they are. There is nothing they can do against him. Perfect being, yada yada. And judging by the fear distorting their faces, the villain is starting to believe they finally understood that all hope is lost. And since they're about to die, he will fill them in on something very important. Among all the cells which compose his body, the ones from the Namekians are probably the most useful. Well, that is if you know how to use their full potential, something Piccolo never accomplished, unlike himself. Cursing, Krillin realizes he had everything planned from the start. He should have known. This is why he's been acting so confident, even despite Goten's superiority. With Cell returning to full health using the aid of his regeneration abilities, how will the exhausted, powered down Goten stand a chance? Will he finally allow Krillin to intervene and assist in the fight? Or is history doomed to repeat itself and draw the story to a close for good?
Sorry to disappoint you, Krillin.
Driving his hand through Goten's chest, the fiend chuckles that it's too bad the boy gave his only senzu bean to Krillin. Kicking him, he further torments that's one little vermin taken care of. As these events broadcast their way to the lookout, the sight is too much for the concerned mother. Krillin rushes over to his ally shouting for him to hang on. When Dende telepathically contacts him, he's heading their way to heal Goten. Furthermore, Bulma is about to summon Shenron like he asked. With the wheels turning, albeit on a pretty rough trail, the cyborg thanks him. But gazing down at his student, he urges the Guardian to fly faster. Goten is in really bad shape. In the meantime, he'll distract Cell. His first priority is to heal Goten. Krillin pleads with the boy to hang on a little longer. Dende will be here soon. He begs for his forgiveness. He put his life on the line to protect the Earth, so now it's time for himself to do the same. Cell radiates with power as he chortles. Krillin is the only one to blame for this. All those years he's fed this child delusions, convinced him he could do the impossible. Cell himself would be ashamed if he were in the cyborg's place. What a pathetic master! With the others, Shenron towers above the lookout. He informs his summoners that his power has recently been increased, meaning his wish-granting abilities can now do more than ever before, though in return, he can now only grant one wish once again. Bulma can only hope Krillin knows what he's doing, but here it goes, as she begins to state her wish. Cutting away to Cell, the sky darkening so suddenly appears to startle him. That's when he remembers. On one of those planets, someone told him that the legends say that when one of the dragons is summoned, a dark night engulfs the entire world. He screams at Krillin, demanding to know what he's done. The Earth's dragon was just summoned, wasn't it? What did this pathetic insect do? Who calmly confirms that his foe is well informed. Without revealing exactly what they wish for, our hero's only goal is to just hold on until Dende arrives. Krillin rips off the top of his gi to showcase an X-shaped scar. Whatever it is, he thinks to himself that it should be right here. Gruesomely digging into his chest, he retrieves a device of some kind, seeming to be part of his android anatomy. Whatever it is, Cell recognizes it right away. He asks if that's and it is. It is indeed Krillin's power core. From now on, he'll be fighting as a human. It's the least he can do for himself to honor his last battle. Though shocked, the villain takes in the situation. So Krillin has decided to just deprive himself from using his android abilities. He really is pitiful. As his energy begins to rise, he explains that since Cell has never been human, he doesn't expect him to understand what he's saying. Despite the amazing perks this core brought him, this hunk of metal was also preventing him from being in perfect sync with his body like before, which also kept him from using a few certain techniques. Techniques which will allow him to kill Cell once and for all.
What? Behold my ultimate!
Watching on, the others shout how incredible Krillin is. He's going to win. He's got Cell on the ropes. But Roshi isn't convinced. Sure, he's got the advantage for the moment, but what does he mean by that? He tells how Krillin is already feeling the drawbacks of the Kaioken. His body hasn't been trained to withstand so much power. He's putting his life on the line to save Earth. The real question is, how long can he keep this up before his body breaks? Catching his breath, the battle-worn Cell stutters that this is intolerable. How dare this miserable human? With whom Krillin can barely stand due to the strain put on his body. He knows he needs to get this over with, fast, causing the villain to smirk. He informs that this is merely a minor setback. Placing his fingers to his forehead, he claims he'll be back soon enough. But nothing happens. He tries again, visibly frustrated, wondering what's going on. He can't feel any key signature anywhere, which means Krillin was right. He smirks that he was sure that if the situation turned against Cell again, he would attempt to flee like the coward he is. So our hero made sure to use the Dragon Balls to wish for all life force in the universe to be concealed for a few hours. Now Cell has nowhere to run. He's stuck here.
What? What have you done? You're gonna pay, Cell! Kaioken! You're going to have to make a choice, Krillin! Goten!
Deflecting the blast and saving Goten's life. The explosion isn't lost on Dende. He prays they hang on tight. He's coming. Leaping back into the sky, Cell yells that it's time to put an end to this nonsense. Still trying to hold himself together, Krillin mutters that he won't let him, getting ready to power up another Kaioken. But his body is at its limit. While he struggles to get back on his feet, he knows all he needs to do is stand up one last time. With King Kai Some of the familiar gang washes in on the battle. Yamcha fears that Krillin can't fight anymore. This is the end. That piece of trash Cell always finds a way to escape. Tien points out that Dende is still several minutes out from helping, and that's only if he gets the chance to help at all. As Kid Trunks rushes over to catch up on the action himself, his future iteration begs Kaiosama to let him go to the battle. Cell is weak and he won't have any problem finishing him. He can't just sit around while the Earth is about to be destroyed. Maybe because there's little choice, or maybe due to a bit of favoritism towards our heroes. The deity grants his request. Trunks may go. If he flies at full speed, he should be able to make it to Yema's check-in station in a matter of seconds. He will be alerted of the Saiyan's arrival and intentions. Happy to get this answer. Trunks powers up as his teacher informs him that once he's there, Trunks will be teleported to Earth for 24 hours before coming back, urging him to leave now and get rid of that monster for them all, assuring they can count on him. His child counterpart powers up too, telling his big bro that he's coming with him, but there's no way his other will allow that. Ignorant to what he'd be facing, he pleads to be allowed to go to Earth too. He also wants to fight Cell, but future Trunks has had enough and states it's far too dangerous, and he's not near strong enough to face him. Countering, he may not have trained in a long time, but he can still be useful, whether he agrees or not. Kid Trunks shouts he's coming with him. The time traveler cuts their conversation short and blasts away at full speed. Watching him leave, Tien can't help but point out that Saiyans never were good with pedagogy? Pedagogy? Which, according to Google, is the method and practice of teaching, especially as an academic subject or theoretical concept. Anyway, Yamcha just hopes he makes it to Earth in time. Though something appears to catch the attention of King Kai, currently the only one able to still see the fight. Meanwhile, Trunks shows nothing short of determination and fury in his eyes. He barks Cell to just wait. He'll take care of him. Jumping back to the battle, Krillin is still unable to find his legs. At the same time, Cell screeches at the reality he's faced today. He, the perfect being, humiliated by the pathetic Krillin. It's unforgivable. Does he really think that he's stranded here on Earth? He seems to be forgetting that he can survive in space. He'll just blow up this planet for good. Trying everything he can to just move, Krillin knows he has to do something to stop this monster. He can't afford to be weak. Not now. Not again. Screaming at himself to get up. As Goten begins to cough, weakly stuttering for his teacher's attention. He wearily tells him that he's cold. What's happening? Krillin curses himself. He feels like such an idiot that he's lost himself in anger and despair. So much so, he had lost the very reason why he's fighting. He thanks Goten. He has made him realize that. Although it feels otherwise, he is not fighting for vengeance, but to give humanity a brighter future. Wu only continues to shudder as he speaks. He apologizes that he wasn't up to the task. He, like his brother and father, has failed. His mentor snaps for him not to say that. He's been incredible. He must not lose his confidence in his own abilities, because now, a great responsibility rests on the young man's shoulders. He is Son Goten, protector of humanity. And Cell, he promises Cell that he will die today. Finding the will to power up one last Kaioken. It's incredible. The villain reaches out his hands, furious at the sight below. He bellows that he'll make Krillin disappear alongside of his planet. Almost ironically, Cell begins to charge a Kamehameha. Krillin believes it's the perfect time to finally use what he's been saving. This way, he doesn't have a chance of damaging the Earth. Of all of the Dragon Warriors, he has to thank Chaozu for this moment, his old friend. He thanks him for granting him the opportunity to study the Forbidden Scrolls. Our hero Gero sneers that he will personally be escorting this monster to Yama's place. But his student has no idea what's going on. He beckons his teacher what he plans on doing. Turning, he pridefully explains to the child that he has no idea how proud of him he is. It's been an honor to have him as a student. Krillin will soon join his friends, knowing the Earth is safe with him to protect it. He thanks the boy for giving his life purpose again, bidding him goodbye. Reflecting on the events of the last couple decades, Roshi proclaims that the greatest warrior this planet has ever had is none other than Krillin.
Stay away, you treason! Your time has come, Cell! I will disintegrate you to your very last atom!
It's finally over. Goodbye, my friends. Once the planet stops shaking, King Kai slumps over and announces that Krillin did it. He destroyed Cell at the cost of his own life. When Trunks finds himself at Earth's check-in station, he rushes in shouting to Yama that he has to go to Earth immediately on King Kai's orders. However, the judge of all smiles that there is no need. That piece of garbage Cell is finally dead. Krillin was incredible. He sacrificed himself to save the Earth. Although a little taken aback by this news, looks like Yama and the others were watching in on the fight too. On the lookout, Bulma belts out in anguish at the loss of yet another longtime friend. Chi-Chi is still unconscious, and also heartbroken. Roshi offers his student a symbolic last farewell. Better late than never. The Guardian of Earth dashes towards Goten, promising him it'll be okay. He's here to heal him now. And luckily, he jolts awake, though immediately absorbs the impact of what had just happened. Krillin is dead. With few words of comfort, Dende only offers his condolences. Krillin's plan worked perfectly though. He planned it down to how he wanted to go out. He was determined. He gave his life to save Earth, and he died a hero. Silent, the boy mentions he would like to be alone for a moment. He'll meet him back at the lookout a little later. Understanding, Dende implores him to take all the time he needs. He'll inform his mom that he's fine. With Dende flying off, he screams out after his master. Blaming himself, he cries that everything is his own fault. A short amount of time passes. Goten greets his friends and family. While the Earth will certainly feel the loss of the most unexpected hero it's ever had, this day wasn't for nothing. Krillin may be gone, but behind, he has left another that will stop at nothing to honor him and pick up where he left off. In Otherworld, the Earth's savior has a lot of catching up to do. Trunks can't believe he beat Cell by stacking the Kikoho on top of the Kaioken. He's reached an incredible level. He thanks his friend, but as Trunks can see, there is no way he himself could actually survive a combo like that. But he's glad to know that Cell is finally in hell where he belongs. Krillin then asks if Goten and Gohan are also at King Kai's, though unfortunately, he won't get to see them. 5 years ago, after the Otherworld tournament, there were rumors of powerful beings living in a world stuck between heaven and hell. And, well, he knows Goku and his dad. Piccolo and Gohan also went. There hasn't been any news of them since they left. For some reason, likely simple confidence in his friends, Krillin only laughs that it sounds like they haven't changed a bit, questioning who won that tournament he mentioned. And after beating Goku, Gohan won in the final against Trunks' dad, which annoyed him a lot. But that's Vegeta for you. For Trunks himself, after all these years of training, surely he must be crazy strong as well. Which is true, he's gotten a lot stronger with time. But since Vegeta left, he's been slacking off on his training. However, seeing Cell again woke up his Saiyan instincts, so he picked himself back up. He's also glad to know the Earth is finally at peace. Speaking of which, Krillin has to apologize for Trunks' own timeline. Surely it's still plunged into chaos. And not a day goes by without thinking about it for the time traveler. Krillin should know though, his mom's goal when creating the time machine wasn't to save their own timeline, but Goku's timeline of the past. She considered her timeline lost. So today, her mission was successful. Trunks can't even imagine all the horrible things happening in his future. But one thing's for sure, his mother is a fighter, and he knows she's doing fine. As the conversation tapers off, Krillin begins to descend to greet some old friends and his new home. Meanwhile, in the future timeline, year 798, nearly 20 years after the initial android invasion. Somewhere in space. In a ship marked Hope, a voice narrates to herself that it's been 10 years. 10 years since that monster appeared there. She'll never forget the time she saw it on her surveillance drone's video feeds. A hideous giant insect sucking the life form out of humans with its tail. He said his name was Cell. Dr. Gero's ultimate creation, created to achieve perfection by absorbing 17 and 18. That piece of crap Gero had no limit. Cell's only goal was to hunt down survivors. The monster probably wasn't strong enough for 17 and 18. Unlike them, Cell could sense human ki. It became impossible to escape him. Half of the Earthlings were wiped out within a couple months. That's why she herself decided to flee the planet in search of. Before she cuts herself off, deprecating that she's become crazy talking to herself out here in space. It all got so much worse since he left 14 years ago. With her hands on her face, she mumbles that she misses her son so much. When the lights on her console begin to beep and light up, thinking there could be no way. A robotic voice chimes out.
Data scan completed. Main objective match. 99%.
Future Bulma has finally found new Namek.